Hello and welcome to Hip Health Day. Great to see everyone. Just some quick housekeeping notes for everyone. The Zoom is being recorded, so we do ask that you keep your mics on mute. Please turn off your camera if you do not want to be included in the recording, although we would be happy to see your smiling faces. Thank you and welcome. And I'd like to introduce Dr. Emily Schaefer, our fantastic host. Thanks, Emily.
Thank you, Tamara, and welcome everybody. Hello, everyone. On behalf of the Hip Hop Network, welcome to our global online celebration of the 4th annual Hip Health Day. I can't believe we're at the 4th annual event already. So as Tamara said, my name is Emily Schaefer, and I'm co-founder of the Hip Hop Network along with Dr. Xuemin Lyu. And I am the research director for the orthopedic surgery department at BC Children's Hospital, as well as a research associate at the University of British Columbia here in Vancouver, BC. So as we begin, I just want to acknowledge that our work at BC Children's Hospital and at UBC takes place on the unceded, traditional, and ancestral territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. I know there are many of you joining us from across the globe. I would like to extend this acknowledgement, gratitude, and respect to all of the communities from which you may be joining us today. So a little bit about HHD. So let's see, I think we have things in a different order tomorrow. So today we are, as for our agenda today we are thrilled to celebrate the 4th annual Hip Health Day with you. We are fortunate and grateful to have many of the world's leading hip health organizations and advocates here to share updates on their efforts to improve hip health for children globally. We are honored to welcome 7 organizations and advocacy groups, which will be followed by presentations honoring 4 hip legends who have made outstanding contributions to improving child hip health. We also welcome guests who registered from around the globe. The incredible engagement at this event really highlights the impact of your efforts from local to global. All right. And so first up, we have our representative from Miles for Hips. This is Lauren Scholler. Thank you very much, Lauren, and welcome. Please take it away.
Hello, thank you for the opportunity to share about Miles for Hips. You can go to the next slide. We are a patient-driven collaboration between individuals affected by hip dysplasia and the International Hip Dysplasia Institute, with the goals of education and empowerment, awareness and advocacy, and fueling participatory medicine. Next slide, please. For recent highlights, we had a successful day of movement this past October with 9 in-person meetups across the United States, and we sold more than 200 Hip Dysplasia Strong t-shirts, raising $1,500 for the International Hip Dysplasia Institute. Additionally, a lot of work has gone into our newsletters that highlight updates from our group as well as the IHDI. We recently held our annual team week where we interviewed members of the hip dysplasia team, ranging from surgeons, physical therapists, occupational therapists, nurse practitioners, child life specialists, and patients and families. And finally, we are so proud of our Miles for Hips champions, who are people from around the world who partner with us to support our efforts with the IHDI through personal fundraising events. And currently, Caleb has an active champion project, and we're excited to have 2 others in the near future. Next slide, please. What's next for Miles for Hips? In the spirit of the start of Hip Dysplasia Awareness Month, we have a busy month planned with a t-shirt design contest, numerous new educational resources, and interactive activities and events across our social media platforms. And after Hip Dysplasia Awareness Month, our next community event is our annual Day of Movement taking place on October 12th, where we look forward to seeing the creative ways the hip community celebrates how they move with hip dysplasia. Next slide, please. If you have any questions or just want to connect, please get in touch with us here. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Lauren, for that talk from Miles for Hips and that update. Next, we have a video from Dr. Pablo Castañeda from the International Hip Dysplasia Institute.
Hello, my name is Pablo Castañeda. I represent the International Hip Dysplasia Institute. Thank you for the opportunity to join you today for Hip Health Day 2024. I'm pleased to announce that we have successfully transitioned leadership. After years of being inspired by Chad Price, we have moved on to a new structure. And with the support of my advisory board, we have recalibrated the IHDI's specific objectives. The IHDI is a collaborative, international, not-for-profit effort. We believe in the power of collective knowledge and the importance of every stakeholder's contribution. Our goal is to educate patients, families, and physicians, making us the most comprehensive and reliable resource for knowledge about hip dysplasia in its various forms. The focus is on educating patients and families and providing a forum for patients to connect and share their experiences. Collaboration with local and national organizations for physician education is also paramount. We have developed a standardized teaching curriculum that can be implemented locally or nationally. It includes raising awareness and improving early diagnosis and non-operative treatment for primary care physicians, pediatricians, and family medicine physicians. In conjunction with this, a program has been developed targeting the much smaller audience of orthopedic surgeons who treat hip dysplasia. The program can be implemented with the aid of the IHDI faculty in partnership with local faculty, enabling standardized techniques to be incorporated with local practices. This has already been implemented in Ecuador, Costa Rica, and Guyana, and we look forward to partnering with Saudi Arabia and Egypt later this year. One significant effort initiated early this year is the production of a podcast titled Straight from the Hip. This podcast aims to highlight recent research and have in-depth discussions with different healthcare providers around the world, providing a nuanced analysis of recent developments in this accessible format. You can find it on Spotify, Apple Music, or wherever you get your podcasts by following these QR codes. We have also partnered with CICOT, the International Society for Orthopedic Surgery and Traumatology, to host a full-day symposium with a global perspective on hip dysplasia. This will take place later this year in Belgrade, Serbia, with representation from all 6 inhabited continents and 23 countries. The IHDI is eagerly looking forward to continued collaboration with anyone interested in furthering knowledge and allowing greater access to care for patients afflicted worldwide. We believe that together we can make a significant difference in the lives of those affected by hip dysplasia.
Thank you very much, Dr. Castañeda, for that great video. Next up, we have Joel Sloan from the Hip Hope Network.
Hello, everyone. The Hip Hope Network is an inclusive global group of hip health practitioners and advocates of all types. It's on a mission to advance research, share knowledge, and improve the quality of care and life for people with hip conditions worldwide. We do this through initiatives related to member community engagement, research, professional development, and growth and outreach. Some highlights from the recent, or for the past year. Well, now that we're a few years into earnest membership activity, the group continues to grow and is really hitting a new stride, bringing more content and connectivity opportunities to bear, such as the 3rd annual members meeting held at the combined European and North American Pediatric Orthopedic Society event, which drew a full ballroom of people, over 100 participants in person and online from around the world, including keynote speakers, several late-breaking research presentations, and engaging group discussions and networking. It really showed the value of an inclusive, global and like-minded group in terms of advancing hip health. Throughout the year, there's been an active moderated case discussion and the start of focused webinar series. And to continue to add energy to the latest momentum, we've been initiating volunteer action committees to help bring more ideas to life to our strategic plans. And of course, we continue to lead and support broader outreach through various media campaigns and by hosting special events, such as Hip Health Day. So looking ahead, on the next slide, please. With all this growing interest, energy, and momentum, we're very excited to be ramping up across all strategic areas, including establishing and growing content, events, and relationships related to research, such as the research toolkit and providing opportunities to highlight global research advancements, professional development, such as building out educational research resources and learning events, and also by building relationships with like-minded organizations to help add force to all the efforts that advance hip health around the world. A special topic we'll explore that was raised at our annual meeting was the idea to hold larger standalone Hip Hope Network meetings. The idea drew clear and strong interest, so we look forward to considering plans into 2025 and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joel. And so next up, we have a video from Dr. Konstantinos Schlaputakis on behalf of iCode.
Good morning from Heraklion, the capital city of the island of Crete in Greece. I'm Dr. Konstantinos Schlaputakis, chairman of iCode, and on behalf of the iCode board, I would like to congratulate the Hip Hope Network on this initiative. I would also like to express our thanks to the organizing team for giving us the opportunity to participate in this event. As you may read on the slide, iCode is an acronym which is formed by the words International Interdisciplinary Consensus Committee for DDH Evaluation. iCode was established in 2018 after a meeting which was held in Hungary. It is a scientific association which currently has 73 members from 17 countries. The vision of iCode is to work towards consensus on the various issues regarding DDH and in particular policies for detection and early treatment, to promote, standardize and continually improve teaching and training in the graph technique of infant hip ultrasound, and to support research, audit and quality improvement in the field of detection and early treatment of DDH. Since its constitution, iCode has been scientifically active. We have organized 5 international meetings. We've held 2 official iCode hip ultrasound courses. We have supported several member publications and scientific events. Our members have authored and edited a reference textbook which was published by Springer in 2022, and we have introduced a mobile application which is freely downloadable from the App Store and the Android Play Store under the name of iCode Hip US Calculator to aid with the correct sonographic diagnosis of developmental hip dysplasia. For the next season, our plans include publishing the iCode DDH hip sonography practice guidelines, finalizing the training material, the structure and the regulations for the official iCode hip sonography courses, organizing the next international meeting which will be held in Dubai later this year, promoting DDH awareness through social media, and producing scientific work to support universal ultrasound with DDH screening. Finishing this short presentation of iCode, I wish to invite any other organization or society that would be interested in collaborating with us and contributing to the success of our efforts to contact us. Thanking you again for the invitation. We wish best of luck to the event.
Thank you very much, Dr. Schlepetakis. And I think I see you've joined us in person, so thank you for joining us on a Sunday night for you as well. Next up, we have Dr. Bryn Zomar on behalf of the HIPPY Global Registry Program.
Hi, everyone. So I'm a research associate in the HIPPY lab at BC Children's Hospital. And the HIPPY Global Registry Program is a group of global multi-center registries run by the HIPPY lab and led by Drs. Kishore Malpuri and Emily Schaefer. And across our registries, we involve over 50 centers from 17 countries on all inhabited continents. Next slide, please. Our program is comprised of three main registries. The first and largest of these is the Global Hip Dysplasia Registry, or for short, GHDR, with over 6,600 participants worldwide. This registry collects data on risk factors, treatments, and outcomes of children with hip dysplasia to address current gaps of knowledge in clinical practice. An exciting recent update from GHDR includes the publication of 3 research papers over this past year. And we've also launched our first randomized trial under the auspices of GHDR in April, which aims to investigate whether careful monitoring is as effective as bracing in the treatment of infants with mild hip dysplasia. We are very excited to see how this trial progresses over the next few years. Our second registry is the Slipped Capital Femoral Epiphysis Longitudinal International Prospective Registry, or SLIP registry for short, with over 600 participants worldwide. This registry collects data on current practices and outcomes of adolescents with SCIPy. Another very exciting update from our program this past year includes the launch of our newest registry. So the Global Pediatric Orthopedic Implant Safety and Efficacy Registry, or Global POISE, officially launched our database and recruitment at external centers back in the fall. This registry is supported by OrthoPediatrics, which is a company which manufactures implants for use in pediatric patients, and we're very excited to work with them. This registry aims to assess the safety and effectiveness of implants used in children with a wide variety of orthopedic conditions, such as hip conditions, limb differences, trauma, and other. And we now have over 80 participants enrolled in the registry and have 7 centers now onboarded and beginning recruitment. We are now also currently working on developing a 4th registry as part of our program, the Rare Hip Conditions Registry, which will collect data on outcomes of children with more rare hip conditions. And we're aiming to launch the registry with 3 conditions first. So the hip and spinal muscular atrophy, the hip and Rett syndrome, and the hip and Down syndrome. We hope to have more exciting updates about this registry and its launch at next year's Hip Health Day. Next slide. If anyone wants to learn more or to get involved in our registries, we have our HIPPY Lab website, HIPPY Lab Instagram, and our HIP registry website, which is for GHDR. So we look forward to hearing from you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bryn. Next up, we have a video from Candelaria Mercado on behalf of the International Perthes Study Group, or IPSG.
The IPSG is an international collaboration between surgeons and scientists with the common goal to better understand Perthes disease. We have enrolled over 990 hips since the study initiation back in 2012. So far in 2024, we have had 2 publications, one relating perfusion MRI and duration of the disease stages, the other describing predictors of persistent limp following femoral varus osteotomy for Perthes disease. We were able to present both of these studies at the most recent EPOSNA conference as podium presentations. We also held a hybrid annual meeting this year to continue our collaborative efforts to better understand the disease. In 2024, we have also continued our commitment to community engagement through things such as Perthes for Parents, a webinar aimed to disseminate information about the disease to the general public, but especially to parents of patients with the disease. We are also organizing Perthes Day, which is aimed to celebrate the resilience of Perthes patients. This event will be held October 19th, 2024 in Dallas, Texas at Scottish Rite. We have many more things to look forward to in 2025 and later. We have multiple self-studies in the works to continue our research efforts. We are prioritizing 5-year follow-up to better understand the disease. We will continue community engagement through events such as Birthies Day, parent webinars, Birthies Camp, and we'll continue to collaborate with other players in the community. Thank you. If you have any questions, you may reach out to ipsg@tsrh.org or directly to Harry Kim, the study group chair. If you would like to support the study group through a donation, you can do so by visiting birthiesdisease.org.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Candelaria, on behalf of IPSG. And next up, I'm thrilled to introduce Dr. Patricia Moreno for Instituto Himomahumo.
Hello, good morning there, good afternoon for me, because I'm in Brazil, São Paulo, Brazil. Thank you for the opportunity. I am Patricia Moreno. I am an orthopedic surgeon in São Paulo, Brazil. I'm speaking on behalf of Instituto Remo Meu Rumo, which the translation would be I row my course, or something like I row my destiny. It's a non-governmental organization which promotes rowing and canoeing for children and adolescents with disabilities, not only to improve their physical strength, but also aiming their emotional and social gains. We are the rowing course at the University of São Paulo, in São Paulo, Brazil. And we have, I think we can go to the next slide, please. And we have currently 142 children and adolescents participating. We have had like about 600 over those 10 years that we exist. And there are several conditions that these kids have, as cerebral palsy, which is the majority, but also like of Perthes disease, autism, Down syndrome, and many others. And about 7% of the kids don't have disabilities, either their friends and siblings, so they come and they enjoy, and which makes Instituto Remo Rumo a real inclusive environment, because we have children with disabilities and without disabilities rowing together. We have a team of professionals, physical educators, physical therapists, psychologists, social workers, a health team, and also an administrative team. Special mention to my husband Ricardo, who is the head, the heart of the Instituto Remo Meu Rumo. And we have the facilities with boats, rowing ergometers, kayaks, and physical therapy area for rehabilitation of the kids. We can go to the next slide, please. So what is next? From the rest of this year in 2025, we're putting together a book with more than 60 co-authors celebrating our 10th anniversary. Since now we're going to the 11th anniversary, but where this book is going to be released in July, August. It's going to be close to the Paralympic Games. And also a short film with a visual immersion on the history of the Institute. And we have many research projects going on. And also, I think the great news is that we're getting a sibling in Vancouver with the initiative of the Motion Lab at Sunny Hill Health Center and BC Children's Hospital, care team, Liz, Diane, and the enthusiasts, Regina and Kishore, with the support of I'm a Hippie. They're starting the Road to Grow, and they already partner with Rowing Canada via many rowing clubs. They have now 6 rowing clubs partnering with them, and we all hope there's going to be a great success, and we're very happy to be to have a seat there. So thank you. Good luck on the rest of the event.
Thank you very much, Patricia, for that update. And our final presenter is Regina Wilkin on behalf of I'm a Hippie.
Hello, I'm Regina Wilkin, and I'm the Executive Director of I'm a Hippie here in Vancouver, BC. For those of you who don't know, we support the work of the Hippie Lab in their goal to improve the quality of life in children who are diagnosed with a hip disorder. We're thrilled to announce the launch of our Hip Health campaign last year here in BC, with the goal of creating awareness amongst families and empowering parents and guardians to take control of their baby's hip health, emphasizing the importance of early detection and diagnosis. We've developed a comprehensive suite of resources, and if you're interested, we'd love to share them with you. If we work together by equipping families with the right tools and information early on, we hope that we will see a significant decrease in late presenting hip dysplasia. We're also excited to welcome Dr. Rajuta Mehta from India as the second Russell G. Smith Grant awardee. If you're interested in this grant, please go to the Hippie Lab website for more information on application. And finally, a big congratulations to all of our Hippie legends this year, including our very own Hippie ambassador, Raven Peeman. On behalf of I'm a Hippie, thank you to all of you for all that you do.
Thank you very much, Regina. And so thank you so much to all. That was an absolutely amazing roundup of hip health highlights from around the world. Thank you so much to our presenters for taking the time to either join us in person today or put together those videos. That was also very appreciated. And we wish you all continued success and look forward to many future collaborations. I really can't wait to see what all of you will accomplish on the mission for hip health globally. All right, so now we'll continue to the next part of our agenda. I think Tamara, if you can switch, there we go, change the slide. I'm pleased to present the 2024 Hip Legend Awards. So for the fourth year, after receiving nominations from around the world, we are recognizing a number of hip legends who have long made outstanding accomplishments in various aspects of improving hip health. It is an honor to help recognize these four individuals for their exceptional achievements. They are inspirations for us all. And before I call on Dr. Kishore Mulpuri to introduce the recipients, please let me express my own heartfelt congratulations. Congratulations and well done to all. And so with that, Kishore, I will call on you to do the Hip Legend presentations.
Hey, great. So I'm truly honored, I think, to introduce four people who have known personally over the years. We received multiple nominations for these people and many others. And all the ones that are nominated this year, if you don't see them here, they're definitely coming up in future years. And the concept of this is we really like to recognize people that have done incredible amount of work improving hip health, either through advocacy or through education or through providing clinical care. And it's not just by surgeons for the surgeons. And as you see in these awardees, we have patient advocates, we have physiotherapists, we have patients themselves that are improving hip health through their efforts. So it's really a broad spectrum of people with different backgrounds and from really different parts of the world. And I think this year is no different. We're continuing the tradition of recognizing people that have really contributed immensely from different parts of the world. So our first hip legend, we can go to the next slide, please, is Dr. Xuemin Lyu. Dr. Lyu is he currently practices in Beijing in one of the largest hospitals that we have, an orthopedic hospital in the world. It's a 2,000-bedded hospital with 100 operating rooms and 80 of them almost dedicated to orthopedics. And I had a good fortune to visit Dr. Lyu about 2 times in 2019, and the pandemic hit. I couldn't go back. I'm looking forward to going back to visiting him this August. Dr. Lyu did his MD training in Tian, China, and he did Masters of Orthopedic Surgery in Dalian in China, and he did his PhD in Shanghai, and now he practices in Beijing. He's published a number of papers in related to pediatric hip. His most notable contribution that he's been running a dedicated pediatric hip meeting in Beijing for the last 6 years. And it's been incredible to think he manages to bring about 300 to 350 people into one room to discuss all things children's health. And that's actually what we're trying to do here with Hip Hop Network. Under Dr. Liu has been doing it for a number of years in China. When I went in 2019, that was already their 5th meeting of doing that in China. And he invites guests from around the world. And truly, it was an incredible meeting for me to be a part of and learn from really a lot of orthopedic surgeons and other providers in China, but from around the world. With this, we're introducing our first 2024 hip legend, Dr. Xuemin Lyu. I think we have a message from Dr. Liu now.
Good morning, dear colleagues. At the beginning of my career, DDH in older children was a significant clinical challenge we faced. Many children were not treated until 3 to 4 years old, and even if diagnosed at around 1 year, it was considered early then. At that time, myself and my colleagues were determined to change the situation and improve the treatment level for DDH patients. 15 years ago, with our collective efforts, hip joint screening was initiated in major metropolises such as Beijing, Shanghai, Tianjin in China, with support from local governments. As a result, the age at which DDH is diagnosed has significantly decreased. During the treatment process for infants with DDH, we also discovered some unique methods. For example, we found that using tubican splint brace yielded better results than public harness. Additionally, it was simpler and easier to handle when it came to wearing and changing diapers. This achievement has been recognized by our global peers. In terms of assessing femoral head reduction after closed reduction of hip, we proposed that ultrasound detection is more convenient than using hip joint MRI scan. And this technique can also be used for detecting early treatment with public harness or tubican. We have also developed minimally invasive surgical approach for triple osteotomy. The G3 Pediatric Hip Summit conference jointly organized by us along with IHDI and Hip Research Lab will soon hold its 7th session this year. Dr. Chad Price, Dr. Kaishal Malpuri, Dr. Pablo Castaneda have provided great support throughout. However, I'm also aware that developmental dysplasia of the hip is still a significant disease that affects the healthy growth and development of children, such as delayed onset hip dysplasia and residual acetabular dysplasia after treatment. The current solutions are still unsatisfactory. I look forward to working with colleagues around the world through multi-center research models and other channels to jointly build a strong network to protect the healthy development of our children's hips. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Liu. And Dr. Liu is also a member of International Pediatric Orthopedic Think Tank, which is a very small group of pediatric orthopedic surgeons from around the world. And he's actually currently the only one from mainland China. So Dr. Liu, congratulations. And we look forward to continuing our work with you through Hip Hop Network, through our Hip Dysplasia Registry and our Hippie Lab and many other collaborations that you have, as you mentioned, with IHDI and others. So thank you for your continued engagement in improving hip health of children, both in China, but really truly around the world. Thank you. Okay, so now it gives me great pleasure to introduce Dr. Sakkers. Dr. Ralph Sakkers is the second president-elect of European Pediatric Orthopedic Society. And Dr. Sakkers has published a number of papers on pediatric hip health, and mainly with focus on developmental dysplasia of the hip. He leads many different efforts, including it's not easy to do a randomized controlled trial in any specialty, let alone in pediatric orthopedics and pediatric hips. We have gotten to know Dr. Sakkers and his team on a number of research collaborations over the last couple of years, and is truly a force to reckon with in this field. And we're so glad that he's accepted this nomination. And he currently works in Netherlands, in Randstad. And Dr. Sakkers, thanks for being here. Thanks for all of your amazing contributions to pediatric hip health. And thanks for joining us on Sunday night from Netherlands. So can we have Dr. Sakkers, please?
Well, thank you. I can only say that I'm most honored and thankful to be nominated for the Hip Legend Award. I was asked to shortly address 3 questions for this ceremony. Question 1 was, why does hip health matter to me? Hip health matters to me not only on an individual patient level, but also as one of the pediatric orthopedic topics that has a large global socio-economic impact. I was asked what my work thus far was to improve hip health globally. You already mentioned some topics. For me, the most important were implementation of ventral ultrasound, studies of hip dysplasia screenings programs in different healthcare infrastructures, and I think the last is very important because the cost effectiveness in different healthcare structures varies and has to be taken into account. Then reporting on the natural history, I still think we don't know enough about the natural history. Well, as you said, controlled studies on abduction treatment, hip health in rare diseases, which is totally different, and least but not last, introduction of statistical shape modeling of hip images. And I hope we can make a step forward with that. What is my message toward others in working to the goal of hip health and mobility for all? In my opinion, the most important thing is that we need large international cooperation to create enough statistical power for unbiased studies. And I praise the International Hip Dysplasia Institute for creating the infrastructure in the world to make these goals possible. Thank you again for this great honor.
Thank you, Dr. Sakkers, and you've truly been a legend, and your contributions have been legendary, and we're looking forward to working with you in this journey, and thanks for being here. Next. Our next hip legend is Miss Jane Young, and Jane Young is from Vancouver, British Columbia, and she is Vice President of Corporate Relations with Peterson Group, who are into real estate development in Vancouver and beyond, truly globally. And Jane is become a personal friend and a huge advocate for pediatric hip health. She and her family have created a fund for what's called a Peterson Fund for Global Hip Health. They also support a visitation every year to Vancouver or anywhere else that they want to go. So far, the Peterson Scholars have come to Vancouver. The Peterson Scholars over the years were Alrica Rugis, who was our inaugural Peterson Scholar who happened to be here today with us. And then we had Sukhdeep Dulai, who's now the president-elect of Canadian Orthopedic Association. And this year we had our own Dr. Xuemin Lyu, who you saw was actually with us in Vancouver. And all of those, we've learned a lot from them. And Dr. Jane's is really inspired by, I think, contributing and giving, incredibly generous, both with her time and her resources. She served on the boards of BC Children's Hospital Foundation and also on the BC Cancer Foundation. And there is probably not an organization in Vancouver that's not probably benefited from either her time or wisdom or resources. And she truly being a champion of hip health. A lot of what you see right now with us, the work we're doing, we're very generously funded by Jane and her family Peterson, as well as I'm a Hippie. These are our two major contributors to all the effort that you see with Hippie Lab. And she is really truly involved in all aspects of the work we do. And my trip to China, she personally accompanied so that we could go and visit 5 different hospitals to really foster our collaborations with China so that we could work on collaborative projects to improve hip health. And we're really honored to have this opportunity to celebrate Jane and her leadership in trying to improve hip health for children around the world. And some of the projects they funded, for example, Developing Care Pathway in India, jointly with I'm a Hippie Foundation, has led to now UNICEF trying to adapt not just DDH, but entire birth defect screening across India. So that's just the power of the ripple effect of that support and philanthropy can go in a long way. Thank you, Jane, for all of your support. And we have a message from Jane. She couldn't be with us in person this morning.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jane Young, and it is very humbling to be recognized here today as a Hip Legend by Hip Hope Network. It is an honor to be invited to celebrate Hip Health Day with you all, and I apologize for not being able to attend this event live. Hip health matters to my family and I as we understand the importance of hip health, recognizing how crucial mobility is for children and how hip condition can significantly impact the quality of life. We also understand the power of knowledge and the power of people coming together to improve care and enhance outcomes for children. My family is very humbled to be a proud supporter of Dr. Kishore, Dr. Emily Schaefer, and their team. We recognize the great work and efficacy that the HIPAA team are doing, which is why we were so inspired to work with Dr. Mopari in establishing the Peterson Fund for Global Hip Health. Our goal is to support research, education, fellowship training, and clinical care program that decrease the burden on pediatric hip conditions so children can have a better future. We recognize and appreciate the importance of global collaboration and knowledge exchange for its ability to improve the quality of care and life for children with hip condition around the world. Thank you for your collaborative efforts in advancing hip health and mobility for all locally and globally. For the many patients and family, your work is the beginning of hope. For the many supporters, your unwavering commitment and dedication is truly inspiring, and we are grateful for everything you do and are doing. It is most meaningful and fulfilling to be on this journey with you, and we are excited to continue to witness your wide-reaching impact. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Jane, and we really appreciate all of your support and words of encouragement. Okay, our last Hip Legend, and as the saying goes, not last, but not the least. Dr. Moseley has been a personal friend and a mentor for both myself and Emily. Dr. Moseley was instrumental in a database that existed in US for us to move over to Vancouver, and then setting up the registry was actually his wise wisdom as well as his knowledge. I mean, this man's understanding about databases is probably next to none. And so we really benefited hugely from his own wisdom and his talent in really creating this. To give you a summary of Dr. Moseley, he finished his medical degree from McGill, an orthopedic residency training. He did a fellowship training in hospital for sick children. And since then, he's been practicing in Los Angeles, and he's been chief of Shriners Hospital. He's held many leadership roles, including presidents of major national organizations. One of the other notable things he's done, and I just talked about IPOT, which Dr. Lyu is a member of, and Dr. Moseley actually started this group of what's called International Pediatric Orthopedic Think Tank, really bringing experts, pediatric orthopedic experts from around the world for a knowledge exchange and synthesis that could really be discussing about cutting edge stuffs and controversies. And if you ever want to hear a person with skeptical thinking in pediatric orthopedics, I've never seen anyone challenge the dogma as well as Dr. Moseley did, whether it's a pediatric hip or others. He's done over 450 open reductions of the hip. And when Dr. Moseley talks about anything related to anything, people stop and listen, especially when it comes to pediatric hip and surgical management, its controversies. I have immensely benefited with close contact with Dr. Moseley, and he's actually also one of the brains behind when we were thinking about Hip Hope Network, and a lot more to come from Dr. Moseley in the realm of continuing education in years to come. And Dr. Moseley, thank you for everything that you've done and everything that you're doing and everything you're going to do to improve hip health of children anywhere in the world. Thank you. And over to you, Dr. Moseley.
Well, thank you, Kishore. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
It's great to be here with you this morning, and especially to see the tremendous strides you've made since you and Emily and I were first talking years and years ago about trying to accomplish something like this. As you mentioned, I've come to this from two different perspectives. But first, I guess, started out when I was in engineering school and studying the mathematical basis of statistical tests, and I can guarantee you there's nothing more nerdy than that. And then going on to be interested in data, and particularly the computerized databases. And one thing I came away from that with was that if you ever want to do something with data and you want it to be successful, then you have to pay a lot of attention to how you set it up and how you manage it and structure it at the very beginning. And the worst thing in the world is to go to a lot of effort containing data in obtaining data and then finding out that it's really not usable in the way you'd anticipate it. As you mentioned, I trained in orthopedics in Montreal, but I spent 10 years on the staff at the Hospital for Sick Children's, working with Bob Salter, who I suppose is the original hip legend. I talked with him a lot about hip problems, consulted him frequently about my own problems with hip patients, and became a disciple in terms of using his technique of open reduction faithfully and consistently over years and years. On leaving Sick Kids, I went to the Shriners Hospital in LA, which provides free care to disadvantaged children. And there I found myself with a patient population full of older patients with dislocated and untreated, partly treated, badly treated hips. A lot of them were from northern Mexico, where access to medical care was very spotty, and some of them were from the undocumented population in Los Angeles. But it taught me a lot, I must say. That my feelings about open reduction, about hip treatment, changed over the years that I was there. And I think I've mentioned to you before that I became more enthusiastic about doing open reductions in the young children until I came to perform them virtually universally in any child over the age of 18 months. And I also reduced my tendency to do open reductions in older children, because I realized that the only good hip is a spherical hip. And in some of those older children, particularly the ones that you might call the sliding hips, it was virtually impossible to obtain a spherical acetabulum. So I've really come at it from two angles, and I'm very enthusiastic to see the work that you have motivated and others are cooperating in gathering data widely and consistently to try and answer some of the unanswered questions we have in hip surgery. And I'm particularly pleased and humbled to be joining a group of hip legends, most of whom have contributed more than I have to hip knowledge. But I'll be interested to continue to be involved with your group, learn as I go, and contribute what I can. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Colin. It's as I say, it's been a pleasure. And every time we meet with you, as I said, your skeptical thinking approach. And for those of you, there's a whole series on skeptical thinking. So skeptics are the ones that challenge you to say, show me the evidence, or let's doubt the evidence to change the dogma. And cynics actually give up even before you get started. So Dr. Moseley is probably has got an incredible approach to developing evidence and question the dogma and really working through the reasoning. So if ever you meet him in a meeting, and I think a personal half-an-hour chat is like reading 3 books that inspire you, motivate you. So I'd highly recommend that you have a conversation with him. And so is any of our legends, Dr. Sakkers or Jane or Dr. Liu. These are all people that are capable of writing multiple different books. Probably they have not written yet. So if you ever meet them in any meeting, make sure you have a coffee with them or a beverage of your choice to pick their brains. With that concludes our HIP Legends. So we're incredibly proud celebrating these 4 remarkable individuals from different parts of the world that are contributing to hip health in many ways than we can actually appreciate and thank them for. So thank you for everything you do. We're almost coming to the conclusion. There is a few people that need a shout out, I think, for today, but I'm going to leave it, I think, for Emily towards the end. But there's one person, though, whose tireless efforts actually gets this whole thing right now with Hip Hop Network as well as Hip Health Day. None of this would be possible without our global hip health coordinator, Tamara Dudley. So Tamara, huge round of applause for you. You work tirelessly behind the scenes to actually make all of this efforts for hip health around the world happen. So we're truly grateful for your passion and dedication. Thank you. Back to you, Emily and Tamara.
Thank you, Kishore. And I certainly echo your words about Tamara. She's a tireless champion for this cause. And so also thank you to all who submitted nominations, and congratulations again to our 2024 HIP Legends. I've learned so much from each of you in very different ways, and the diversity of thought that is represented across our HIP Legends is incredible. Your efforts and your achievements are an inspiration to us all. So at this time, I'd like to acknowledge and thank the kind and generous support that enables the Hip Hop Network, especially from 2 of our key funders, the Peterson Group and the I'm a Hippie Foundation. We are both humbled and honored by all of your support, and what we're able to do on Hip Health Day and all year long is directly thanks to you. So please accept our deepest appreciation.
Yeah.
And, oh, sorry, go ahead, Kishore.
Yeah, and coming to a HIP squad, I think, let's go to the HIP squad. I just want to make one plea to everyone. One of our hippie ambassadors, Maggie Manning, started a campaign for Mobility May, which we're going into Mobility May and June, really promoting mobility of any type. So I will be posting a video out requesting people to join. My favorite mobility move, and I joke and say squats when I dance. I do lots of squats and I love to run. So hopefully you can continue this mobility month in June and really promote mobility of any kind, any mobility that you're able to do. So over to you, Emily.
Thanks, Kishore. And actually, I'm going to hand this over to Tamara for this part.
For sure. So I'm going to jump in here. In the continued spirit of gratitude and in awe of the amazing community that is present in the hip health field, I want to encourage all of us to join on social media of your choice to celebrate your hashtag Hip Squad. We have incredible community that is supporting all of us here, either in our personal or professional hip health efforts. Maybe it's both for you. We all rely on support of others in this hip health journey. So I want to encourage you to post on social media celebrating the hashtag Hip Squad that you have in your personal or professional hip health life, and share about who these folks are. Please use hashtag Hip Squad, hashtag Hip Health Day, so that we can engage with you on social media and get the word out there. I've already seen some really incredible posts, and I'd like to keep sharing these. So thank you to all of those who have engaged thus far. At this time, I would also like to get a snapshot of the HIP squad that is currently present. So I'm going to stop sharing the presentation for now. And if I could get our host to get a photo of those who are in attendance. So if you would like to be part of our snapshot of all of the folks attending on Zoom, please turn on your cameras at this point. We're going to get a snapshot of all the attendees in gallery mode. So let us know when you're ready, Ryan, everyone. Smiling faces. Okay, 1, 2, 3, cheese. Yeah, I know there's going to be more than one gallery. There's so many people here in attendance. So we'll take it one more time. 1, 2, 3, cheese. Thank you so much, everyone. It's so incredible to see folks from around the world in attendance. Really, really great to see. We share our slides here. And I'm excited to see some of your HIP squads as well. Meet these folks from around the world. Okay, I'm going to pass it back to Emily.
Thank you, Tamara, and thank you again to everybody for joining today. I too am looking forward to seeing all the HIP squads popping up on Instagram and various social media. And thank you again to all of our presenters. Congratulations to all of our HIP legends. This actually concludes our 4th annual HIP Health Day gathering. I cannot tell you how inspired I am and continue to be by all of our contributors that make HIP Health Day and Hip Hope Network as a whole so successful. And I just see the momentum gathering, and I can't wait to see what's ahead. And again, special thank you to Tamara and team, Tarni and Ryan and Joel as well in the background, helping to facilitate and make this day a success. And I'm not sure, Keisha, if you have any last remarks. I'll pass it back to you to end, but happy Hip Health Day, everybody.
Yeah, again, I can thank the remarkable Hippie Lab team that organized this every year, led by Tamara and Joel, that we're actually done half an hour early. And I think that's their incredible planning and leadership that actually we're able to give everybody half an hour of their time back. Thank you all. Doesn't matter where you're joining from or when you'll be listening to this, we'll be posting this on our platforms. That we are grateful for your engagement, grateful for your leadership and contributions to improving hip health. Our goal, again, is to reduce the burden of pediatric hip conditions with a goal, hip health for all. And that's, I think, really is our mission for what we're trying to achieve. And I like to wish you all the way best, and either good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever is applicable for you. But we're truly grateful. And I was just counting, and we truly have now people that have joined us from 5 different continents. And I think that's remarkable to see that we actually have active participation from all different continents that are able to join. Thank you.
Thank you all.